Hello everyone, my name is Eamon Williams and today I'll be presenting my research project for senior seminar. My research project was on the topic of outdoor education and what it might look like in the urban environment. Before we dive further into a discussion about the importance of urban outdoor education, let me explain why I find this topic pertinent. Now normally, a traditional outdoor education program utilizes the wilderness setting as its setting, and for good reason. I would argue, however, that there is also a variety of reasons to utilize the urban environment as well. However, many outdoor education programs avoid this setting, and not for good reason. I want to discuss this, why this happens, and what opportunities outdoor education programs miss out on because of this. Some reasons outdoor education should come to this environment are the fact that urban areas are a rapidly developing section of our world. Currently, over half of the global population live in these urban areas. These populations are populations that could benefit from more accessible outdoor education programming. Furthermore, unique programming opportunities in urban areas are not being utilized, and these opportunities could benefit the local community in many ways. Before we go any deeper, I think it is important first to learn how to identify outdoor education, the components of outdoor education programming, when discussing how outdoor education might look and work in the urban setting. So as you can see on the right of the screen here is a Venn diagram detailing the range and the scope of outdoor education. This is by Higgins and Crowther in 1997, and it defines for us what outdoor education is. So it's a Venn diagram, and it's made of three different subject areas. So outdoor education is the combination of outdoor activities, personal and social development, and environmental education. So what this means is that outdoor education programming must include all three of these areas to be actual outdoor education programming. Sometimes and often programming highlights one of these areas over the other, which is fine, but it still requires all three areas to be outdoor education programming. Now, another journal or research article by Beatty in 1999 looking at outdoor education in the urban environment also used this definition of outdoor education, and they had to say that this adaptability has its weakness as the case for a specific educational niche becomes dissipated. And what this means is that while some programs may focus more on one of these subject areas, they may be lacking in others. And I believe that sometimes the urban environment can cause this. However, I also think that the urban environment is able to enhance programming in a variety of ways. Some examples of this might be the unique adventure opportunities that are only possible in urban settings. The fact that the urban setting is a much more populous location and it provides more possibilities for community involvement. Cities also provide rich cultural history that you could draw upon in outdoor education programming. And even the fact that urban areas offer amenities that can enhance learning opportunities, such as parks and museums. As discussed earlier, there are three subject areas that make outdoor education. While all three should be evident in programming, often programs bring one of these subjects to the forefront of the program. I've highlighted three possible program activities that fall within these subject areas that you might see in an urban outdoor education program. Adventure activities is what I've highlighted for outdoor activities. These include activities such as hiking, biking, climbing as traditional activities, but also perhaps even geocaching or solo experiences, which we'll get into more. For environmental education, I've highlighted some environmental activities, such as nature studies and green spaces like public parks. environmental restoration activities in nature preserves, and even conservation activities that could occur in public gardens. As for the subject of personal and social development, I've highlighted service learning activities. An example could be a trash cleanup initiative, or even partnerships with local institutions in the urban setting, such as schools, churches, and businesses. Like I was saying, though, the key to taking full advantage of the urban setting is finding ways that the setting can enhance the programming and program outcomes. That means complementing the subject areas defined by Higgins and Crowther. So, the subject area of environmental education, I feel, makes the best case for outdoor education in an urban environment. Many sources I looked at spoke about the importance of nature experiences, claiming it as a psychological necessity. The urban environment is even coined as a metaphor as people with nature deficit disorder. Providing opportunities to learn and discover in the outdoors for those in urban environments could help foster aspects in their lives, such as environmentalism, and even increase their connectedness to nature. Perhaps even in some ways, environmental education in urban environments is more sustainable because by using green areas, you're reducing impact on other natural outdoor areas. The urban environment has the opportunity to support many traditional outdoor activities, as well as outdoor activities that are enhanced or only possible because of the urban setting. So some examples I have here are that it's still possible to hike in green spaces, and it's still possible to utilize common areas for specific traditional outdoor activities such as climbing, swimming, and even kayaking and canoeing. But I personally would like to see more urban outdoor education with outdoor activities that do not take place in green spaces, such as in research done by Nicole and Sangster on the potential for an urban solo, or even orienteering activities outside of common areas, such as discussed in BD. So a good way to include the subject area of personal and social development in urban outdoor education programming is through the use of service learning opportunities. The urban environment offers a variety of these opportunities. In my research, I found that often these opportunities, they promote a sense of connection within the local community, such as in Kinloch 2015, Kinloch et al. One service learning example stood out to me, and this was a case study detailing cleanup at a local preserve. I think that this was a good example because it was a combination of both a service learning opportunity and environmental education. And I feel as though activities such as these that combine two subject areas are effective for urban outdoor education programs. So time to wrap up this discussion, this presentation. I would say that it can be oftentimes difficult for outdoor educators to create programming in the urban environment because it requires this imaginative use of the setting that is very much unlike traditional backcountry settings. But it's also a double-edged sword, and I think Beatty puts this best. And at the end of his research, he says that the greatest advantage of an urban-based outdoor adventures activity program are its accessibility, combined with low costs and the imaginative use of everyday settings. So this could also be a benefit to the program. So urban outdoor education is essential because we provide a service to a community that might not typically have access to traditional outdoor education programs. So now I want to give you all some resources for my case study and instructions on how to prepare for it. I provided you all with examples of urban outdoor education programming, and while familiarizing yourself with these resources, with your specific resource, I want you to think on these questions as you read. What activities does your program center on? what is the resource or what are the locations that are being utilized in your program, and also how does your program address the 3 subject areas as defined by Higgins and Crowther: outdoor activities, environmental education, and personal and social development. So here are your case study examples. Hannah Kate, you're going to be looking at BUI, which is a sailing urban outdoor education program. Caitlin, I'm going to be having you look at a case study that is urban environmental education in Irving, Texas. And Sophie, I'm going to be having you look at Outward Bound City Urban Expeditions, their Urban Expeditions program. Here are my references, and thank you all for listening. Have a nice day.